I'm scared she's gonna put my house on fire, she's gonna poison us, come in my room and do a whole knife thing on me. I don't know.
Tonight, an all-new 2020, Keepin' It Real. Real estate, that is. Mary Poppins Move Over. The bombshell story.
Nanny nightmare.
And the nanny that just won't go away.
You hired her, you fired her, and she still won't leave?
For the first time on TV, she's telling her side of the story, only to 2020.
They put dog food outside the room. They called me a dog. They swore at me.
Our cameras inside the home, rolling for answers.
Why did you hire somebody from Craigslist who had no previous childcare experience?
Could this 64-year-old woman really strike fear into an entire family? The notorious nanny versus a real housewife of Orange County.
My mom is gonna get her out because my mom never loses.
After watching tonight, who will you bet on? The Nanny Diaries. Plus, more occupants who won't leave. Only these you can't see.
They're here.
Haunted houses for sale, ghosts included.
You could have a dead body swinging from the chandelier, and I'm still going to have 10 offers on the home.
House haunters. And if ghosts don't kill the deal, what about wild animals?
The last thing we want to worry about is tigers getting loose and eating our children.
Living next to lions and tigers and kitties? But 60 of them?
What is your problem?
Well, tonight, we're keeping it real.
I've seen some real estate in my life, but I've never seen anything like this.
Here now, David Muir and Elizabeth Vargas.
Tonight, a 2020 exclusive. That so-called nightmare nanny breaking her silence for the very first time right here, saying the real nightmare is what she went through. And as we come on the air here tonight, Nick Watt and our 2020 team just back from California, the only people allowed inside that house to get at the real story.
And there are two sides to that story with two big questions, both coming down to real estate and the roof over your head. Why does that nanny have a legal right to stay in that home even after she's been fired? And why did the family hire her in the first place, a nanny with no experience? Who's really looking after your kids? Here's Nick Watt.
Joey's good at this.
Marcella and Ralph Bracamonte worked hard for their American dream. A home, 3 kids, and happiness.
High five. Boom.
Now they say they're living an American nightmare.
She's trying to get us on a lockout. That's it.
It's a setup.
It's a setup.
We're going through pure hell.
And they blame the nanny.
I fear we can lose everything. I fear that she knows this game well enough that every word that she says is going to be meant to impact us as hard as possible.
They say they fired the living nanny, but the nanny won't leave.
She said, if you want me to leave, then you're going to need to evict me and slam the door in my face.
The woman they hired, the woman they once trusted with their children, still has a key to their home, still has a room in their house. Attorney Mark Cohen is now representing the Bracamontes.
So she has a legal right to come in there at any time.
She can come in the middle of the night, let herself in with her key, and that's fine.
That is correct.
They couldn't change the locks. The Bracamontes say they sleep with one ear open.
I hear something move, I get up and I walk out. I don't care if I come face to face with her. She should not be roaming in my home.
Joey, their eldest, is 11.
So you feel scared in your bed at night?
Yeah, I wake up in the middle of the night and I just sit there listening to the sounds.
It all began when Marcella, who wanted to start her own business, posted a want ad on Craigslist offering room and board in exchange for house cleaning and caring for my kids.
Help out with the kids when needed, pick up little things, and maybe prep up a little bit of dinner if she was running a little bit late.
64-year-old Diane Stratton answered the ad. Her references checked out. She seemed nice.
That's her room. This is her bathroom.
She moved in March 4th.
We wanted the person that we first met.
She was awesome.
The person that we first met, it wasn't even like a job.
Ralph Sr. made Diane dinner on Mother's Day. She attended family gatherings, tutored their 4-year-old. But big brother Joey says all was not as it seemed.
When your parents weren't around, did she act different?
Yeah. When my parents left us, she would just tell us to go in our room, and I was telling my mom, but she wouldn't believe me.
A couple of weeks in, his parents also began having doubts.
She was absolutely part of our family. Then she changed.
She refused to perform.
Marcella says staying in her room, demanding meals, refusing to work. Marcella claims she gave the nanny verbal warnings, finally penning a last chance letter, laying down some new ground rules. Help with all duties that I do, cleaning, cooking, trips with kids, and anything else mother asks. If you don't see anything for you to do, find something. Either Friday or Saturday, I want you to steam clean all floors. Diane refused to sign.
So that's when you realized that you might have a bit of a problem here.
Oh yeah, and I already saw it from her face that she knew exactly what she was doing.
Marcella claims she fired Diane June 6th. Diane refused to get out, and that's when the fear set in.
Call me paranoid. I gotta keep my family safe.
Every night, Marcella puts a lock on her own refrigerator.
I'm scared she's gonna put my house on fire, she's gonna poison us, she's gonna steal things, she's gonna come in my room and do a whole knife thing on me. I don't know. I don't know who she is. And so I've been scared.
We're right here, we're watching the house now.
Neighbors on this friendly street rallied around the family.
Yes, I went on Google last night, and believe me, I will not forget her face.
What does she want?
She wants to feel superior of somebody. It's an ego thing.
She wants money? She wants to scare you? What do you think it is?
Scaring us, money.
Marcella took her nanny to court to throw her out, only to find that tenants have rights and the nanny is a tenant. Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank fame has some words of warning for everyone.
When you invite someone to move into your home, you should be well aware that they don't have to move out.
Marcella contacted the media.
A bizarre story. Nanny nightmare.
Fired by a local family.
She refuses.
She refuses to go.
Won't leave.
Won't do any work.
They've asked you to leave. Why won't you leave?
And Diane, caught in the spotlight, disappeared, leaving her belongings behind but taking a key with her. She can come in the house anytime. She could walk in tonight. Ralph, a lineman for a power company, says he's scared when he leaves for work.
It's put a stress on my family. It's put a stress on me. I try not to work as much because I'm afraid that something could happen while I'm gone.
So that's her room, and
That's my son's room right here.
By law, the Bracamontes can't even enter the nanny's room in their own home, a home they own.
Ralphie, do you understand?
Yeah.
What did I just tell you to do?
Now open the door.
Why?
Because we can get in serious trouble.
The way she's trying to come off now, it's really sad to me.
I really don't think we need to defend ourselves because her past speaks for herself.
Let me talk.
It's put a stress on the Bracamontes' marriage.
This is real, and people torment people like this for fun.
Okay, and that might be your thing, but I got 3 kids I got to worry about too. And I don't want to keep on putting them through this.
There was a media scrum outside 24/7, but
This way.
2020 was inside on the couch with the family as the drama unfolded. She'll leave for good, she says, but only if the Bracamontes meet her demands, like Marcella and the 3 kids getting out of their own home every day between 8 and 5 p.m. for a month. If not, possible legal action.
She said she could be out by July 4th.
Well, no. We can't do that because we'll be out of town. And
No,
then
she needs to be out.
Then if no one's here, she could end up doing a forced lockout.
She didn't lock the Bracamontes out, but she also didn't move her stuff out or surrender her key. She stays away, and we found her in her car.
This is my car. This is where I've been sleeping. It's where I slept before.
You see, before she moved in with the Bracamontes, Diane Stretton was homeless. She'd lived in her car 8 years. And when we come back...
Do you feel they were abusing you?
Oh, absolutely.
The most infamous nanny in America steps forward, breaking her silence.
They treated me in just an outrageous manner. They called me a dog.
Continues. Once again, Nick Watt.
Marcella Bracamonte, a young mum of 3 from Upland, California, says she fired her live-in nanny over a month ago. But the nanny refused to move out. Branded the nanny from hell in the media.
And we've all been talking about this case, the nanny.
The Bracamontes have told their tale, but...
This is your chance to tell us what you would like us to know.
who is the nanny non grata? Tonight, she is stepping out of the shadows, talking exclusively to us. This is her chance. It's time to hear the nanny's side of the story.
The issue was they just thought that they could have me 24/7. She said, you know, you have this beautiful room and you have access to a pool and all this stuff. We're really giving you a lot of value. You need to give us more.
They just wanted more.
It was just an issue of more.
How many hours were you working?
Between 50 and 60.
Diane claims after months of unscheduled long hours, she became sick. In bed with the flu, Marcella threatened to fire her. So she says she quit.
Why do you think they were doing this to you?
Because they like to get something for nothing.
Diane claims she stuck around just because she needs time to find someplace else to go. And the Bracamontes, she says, tried to get her out.
She would like to stay there 3 more nights.
I cut her Wi-Fi, the telephone, and locked the fridge. I turn off the air conditioner. I try to heat her out. Doesn't work.
And that, says Diane, was not all.
They put dog food outside the room. They called me a dog. They swore at me. They treated me in just an outrageous manner.
She claims you've put dog food outside her bedroom door, you've called her a dog, you've harassed her, you've left tape recorders blasting music at her door.
That's the first one, now I'm hearing that one. I've heard the dog food, and I think all of that's absurd.
But Diane claims these are the pictures that prove it.
At that point, many people would just have moved out. But you didn't.
I was going on the internet looking for some other arrangement.
But to stay in somebody's home when it's clear they don't want you there, they have young children, that's quite a brazen act to remain in that house.
I don't look at it that way.
And neither does the law. She still has a key to their house, can legally come and go as she pleases, leaving the Bracamontes on edge.
When I go to bed, I lock the door and I sleep in front of my brother just in case, and I put my chair in front of the door handle so she can't get in if it unlocks or something.
How does that make you feel to create such fear in children?
They had nothing to be frightened of. Marcella put that idea in their head. I was in the room next to them, and I heard giggling and laughing going on past 10 o'clock at night. If someone's scared, do they laugh? Do they have squeals of joy? I don't think so.
Diane Stretton is 64 years old, college educated, a one-time medical technician.
I was always a top scholar. I always got a lot of awards. I always did real well. I was well off.
But she'd fallen on hard times, unwell and 8 years homeless when she answered the Bracamontes' want ad, offering room and board in exchange for a few hours' help around the house.
It seemed like a reasonable deal to enter into.
Not a deal that you then felt you could take advantage of at a later date?
Absolutely not. It seemed like it'd be a really good trade for both of us, you know. For 20 hours a week work, I'd get my legs up and take care of my heart condition and get to sleep in a bed.
Have you ever had an arrangement like this before where you get a room for work but you don't get paid for the work?
No, I was a total newbie. I was giving them way more hours than they were entitled to for the value of the room. They were exploiting me. Would you work for free and just get a little small standard tract house bedroom? I don't think so.
And under California law, for even 20 hours a week, minimum wage law would require the Bracamontes to pay a wage as well as room and board.
She claims the original deal was 20 hours a week.
No.
So what was it?
I would say she probably a week, maybe 10 hours, if that.
This is the first time I've heard you say this. I mean, my understanding prior to this, my understanding was that it was more than 10 hours.
It was to help out as my wife needed.
Nothing was really written down.
And that's what's biting us in the butt.
I had tried from the get-go to get the contract in writing, and she didn't want to do it.
You were perhaps on a number of levels naive.
Very naive.
We messed up.
Can you see how this looks? This is a 64-year-old woman who you are asking to work It's open to question how much you were asking her to work.
Man,
you
you're
were
back
asking
on
her
that
to
subject
work
again, aren't you?
Sorry?
You're back on that subject again. I thought we were going somewhere else with this.
Let him finish, love.
I'm just saying to you how some people perceive this, and I'd like to give you the opportunity to answer this. How some people could perceive this is you were taking advantage of a 64-year-old woman who didn't have a house, and you were asking her to work for you, and you were not going to pay her.
You know what? I think that her character speaks for herself.
Okay, well, I mean, while we're on this route, why did you hire somebody from Craigslist who had no previous childcare experience?
She said she was a stay-at-home mom for several years, and I thought that was sufficient.
They checked her references, but not her court records. If they had, they might have discovered that Diane Stretton is what they call a vexatious litigant, accused of filing nuisance claims.
You filed a number of cases for medical malpractice, various small claims, personal injury. You know, I mean, I found 20 or more. I mean, you are a vexatious litigant,
All
right?
of those, well, I would strongly disagree with that.
But that's what you officially are.
Officially, I am, but I shouldn't be.
Why not?
Because a lot of those cases, first of all, I won.
In this case, Diane thinks she's the victim, not Marcella. Little Joey's betting on his mum.
What do you think is going to happen?
That my mom is going to get her out because my mom never loses.
Her Facebook page said that she was out to destroy me. And frankly, after all of this, if something doesn't turn the tide, I will be destroyed. I won't be able to rent any place. I won't be able to get any jobs.
Are you going to sue her?
I don't plan to at this point.
What do you want?
I want to get my things out.
Yesterday, the Bracamontes attorney advised Diane she has 18 days to collect her possessions and told his clients they can now change the locks. They haven't. Not yet. Diane says their latest move is, quote, unlawful.
The lesson you've learned is what?
When I get my pension, I'm going to get a place and live by myself.
Are you going to hire another nanny?
Never.
So the question tonight, whose side are you on now after seeing the full story? We're live tweeting tonight, so let us know. Use the hashtag ABC2020.
We definitely want to hear from you. But when we come back, more homeowners in an uproar, also trying to get rid of their neighbors. Cats, big ones, little ones, but 75 in one house. Can they stink up your real estate deal?
When we return.
Animals and real estate.
It is strong.
Just don't mix.
When tigers move in next door.
What are you, absolutely nuts?
And pets can kill. The value of your house, that is.
What is their problem?
Your 60 cats? The fur goes flying. Next.
You've heard the expression, this neighborhood is going to the dogs. But what about the cats? Big ones, like tigers. But little ones too, 60, 70 in a house. And what happens to the price of your home when that animal kingdom next door turns into the wild kingdom? Rebecca Jarvis tonight, knocking at the front door.
High above Malibu, California, amidst the cliffs and views, is a rustic neighborhood called Deer Creek. Nanette and Dan Burkew thought their home here was their castle. The perfect spot to raise a family and the perfect real estate nest egg. Until one day they say something reared its ugly head. Something that would ruin everything. Their safety and their property value.
What are you, absolutely nuts? We're never going to go for something like that. You'd be crazy.
The threat is something they never anticipated. This.
Good time.
A white Siberian tiger. Trainers Irina Hauser and Sophia Krishak want to move their tigers to their home here. They brought one in a temporary cage to show us.
Around this entire area would be a perimeter fence with barbed wire on top.
The sisters thought it would be a formality to get a permit to permanently have tigers on their property. They thought wrong.
They are our closest neighbors, and a tiger can get here in about 30 seconds.
The Burkew family lives a few hundred yards away.
We're a young family. The last thing we want to worry about is tigers getting loose and eating our children.
They weren't the only ones upset. Signs went up all along the roadside.
Deer Creek, not Tiger Creek.
And protesters went down to the Ventura County Planning Commission. Among them, the Burkews and their two oldest boys.
They're gonna kill us if they get out, and they shouldn't be here.
As mothers ourselves, we empathize.
We say it's safe because it is safe.
No tiger has ever escaped a property and gone to a neighboring property and killed anybody.
But Dan Burkew isn't just a concerned father. He's in the real estate business.
A property adjacent to a wild animal preserve is basically worthless. No one would buy that. You'd have to disclose to the buyers that there's a wild animal preserve next door.
It's a real estate issue that's come up before. Believe it or not, it is legal to own exotic animals of some sort in 29 states. And so homeowners in a Cincinnati neighborhood had to worry about this 16-foot python. At this South Carolina apartment, the skin from an African viper.
It's a crazy thing just to gone through all that we have in life and then maybe die by some rare African viper.
And how do you think the folks in Dayton felt about a girl parading her pet bear cub on the front lawn?
Well, you know what they say about real estate.
Yeah.
Location, location, location.
That's correct.
Long Island realtor Maria Palmer says if the location has the wrong animals, prices absolutely take a hit.
It'll drive the property values way down, and nobody wants that in their neighborhood.
But in her neck of the woods, the problem isn't the size of the cats, it's the size of the cat population. Houses overrun with cats is something Robert Masseri sees on almost a daily basis.
Hi, guys. I'm dealing with hoarders. I'm dealing with good doers. I'm dealing with people who are overwhelmed. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a problem. It's a big problem.
Are you scared of what you'll see?
It's always frightening.
Robert runs the Guardians of Rescue volunteer group. He drives all over, responding to calls from people concerned about cats on their block. Sometimes it's realtors, sometimes it's neighbors like these.
You get angry, you get frustrated, but then it comes to a point that this is the way we have to live.
These people say they complained for years to official agencies about a cat hoarder.
What happens?
Nothing. Nothing.
It sounds like if you have a problem and you call, nothing's going to happen.
Nobody's coming. Nobody's coming. Nobody's coming to help. Hi.
So Robert does.
I have dedicated my life to these cats.
At this house, he meets a woman with an eccentric front yard full of cat decorations. There is a home for sale directly next door.
How do we resolve the issues with the neighbors? That's the goal here.
What is their problem?
Well, they're calling, they're complaining.
She has 60 live cats she says she is rescuing.
Yes, it's a lot of cats, but if I'm their last chance. It's either me or they go to the place and they get killed. Go ahead and look, and right here.
All right.
She shows us a bunch of cats inside.
Okay, you gotta close the door.
Okay.
And many more in her sanctuary out back.
But we do have to resolve these constant calls and complaints.
Well, I don't know what their problem is. What is their problem?
Well,
they always
something is bothering that person.
Well, I don't see what it could be.
Robert knows what it could be. Sometimes neighbors complain about smells.
Let's get this under control.
Sometimes it's a concern over property values. This woman tells Robert she has 75 cats.
They stay because they're scared, because people throw rocks at them and stuff. And like I said, people have complained, but the same complaint all the time is, I don't want the cats on my property.
Many are sick. They fill the tiny interior. The smell is powerful.
I mind the smell, sure, but I'm used to it.
Have you ever been bringing in a potential buyer to one of these blocks and just seen a look of complete disgust on their face?
Completely. They've turned around and walked away. They won't even go into the home.
That's why Robert's work is so important. When successful, he's able to relocate these cats to other homes and bring much-needed relief to the neighborhood.
We need to solve the problem and make sure that the block goes back to where it was 5 years ago.
Now, back to the big cat crisis in Malibu.
The Planning Commission voted here in Ventura just a couple of hours ago.
For now, the block is staying as it is. The sisters' request for a permit for their tigers was defeated 3-2.
We still do not know what facts allowed them to come to that decision.
But it isn't over. The sisters say take away the emotion, and the zoning law is on their side. Now they're headed to court. They're suing the county, hoping a judge will see it differently. So for the Bearcues, the cat fight goes on.
No, tigers.
animals and real estate never mix. From a barking dog next door is going to diminish your real estate value to the lion down the street. What you gotta do is check out the neighborhood before you make the offer, and most people don't.
Next, when real estate comes with real ghosts.
Ghost houses? Market the heck out of them because you're gonna get paid extra.
Things that go bump in the night and the day as we go house hunting and ghost busting.
Stand up on here and see what's in there.
Coming up.
Some houses come with history and some come with ghosts. Well, which one would you rather live in? A new realtor survey said that 62% of Americans would consider buying a haunted house, and 35% think they already live in one. They may see dead people, but will they see big money when they try to sell? Chris Conley goes ghost busting to find out, and you won't believe the answers.
They're here.
Looking to buy a new home? Maybe the family from Poltergeist should have. Turns out that just like in the 80s cult classic House, some places offer buyers more unusual features than walk-in closets or a wood-burning fireplace.
All my staff knows about our friendly ghost.
When Susie Garcia and her husband bought this 1888 colonial revival mansion in Pleasanton, California, she says they didn't know all its rich history until they started to renovate the property.
And when we did that, that's when we started to notice things moving.
On a street infamous for its shootouts in the 1850s, in a locale then called the most desperate town in the West. This is now the site of the Garcia's restaurant, the Blue Agave Club, where Susie says they are not alone.
We'll be down here and you hear footsteps upstairs. So if you are the manager and you're ready to close, you always have a buddy to close at night.
Susie herself is at a spectral patron who wanted a table for none.
I had a knock on the door and I went to go see who it was, nobody. And just started talking and letting this person know that I was happy to play, but I was busy, to please not bother me. No. And it stopped.
But if you think Susie's spooked about having purchased a place she says has ghosts inside and out, you're in for the fright of your life.
Would you say on balance that having spirits in your restaurant and the building above is a good thing or a bad thing?
I would say it's a good thing. I really feel like those that are here and they like us.
There are buyers out there that think it's cool to own a home that may have ghosts.
Based here in Northern California, real estate agent Cindy Hagley specializes in the selling of so-called stigmatized properties.
You're talking about haunted houses.
Haunted houses, yes. Right now, we're in a seller's market in almost all of Northern California. You can have a dead body swinging from the chandelier, and I'm still going to have 10 offers on the home.
Cindy runs Past Life Homes and says plenty of houses for sale come with tenants who may have lived there for hundreds of years.
What's it like when you tell a potential buyer that the house they're looking at is haunted?
Some don't care. Some expect a huge discount.
How much of a discount do you get on a haunted house?
With me, they get nothing.
Zip? Nothing?
No, the listing
You have
agent...
extra tenants.
You actually get a ghost premium on a house with a happy ghost. People will pay a little extra because they could talk about it at the next cocktail party. You could even invite the ghost.
But if it's regrets only for these smooth apparators and they prefer to stay housebound, such demons aren't deal breakers. Anytime things get a little ethereal, Cindy has it made with the shades.
I have a team of paranormal investigators and partners that will come in.
Paranormal investigators and partners?
Yes.
Is this just because the term Ghostbusters is a trademark?
Who's she gonna call? Mark Christopher Nelson, medium rare. He's got a sixth sense to spot the undead where you or I would only see dust bunnies. At our request, he agreed to check out the upstairs at Susie's hotspot.
One of the first things I got was a bunch of children running around this place. There's kids all over. It feels like an echo. I really want to go in this room. I feel like there's something happening there that I'd like to get a sense of it.
Don't let me stop you.
as he does for buyers who want spirits to skedaddle.
There is activity here.
Mark implores any perturbed paranormals in this house to find a fixer-upper elsewhere.
I am asking all negative energy to leave this room.
We're gentle in our approach.
But you're evicting these spirits.
We're not evicting them, we are helping them.
What happens when somebody gets kind of a gleam in their eye when you tell them that the house they're looking at is haunted, that they're excited at the prospect? What's that like?
Well, I usually call a security guard to protect me because they're usually nuts.
In Cali and elsewhere, realtors are required to tell buyers if a home purportedly has ghostly inhabitants. Landlords, not so much. This week, Katrina McGaw told KMOV in St. Louis that she learned from a TV documentary the apartment she'd rented had been used by serial killer Maury Travis.
This whole basement was basically his torture chamber.
Why hadn't she been told? Maybe because the landlord was the serial killer's mother. Haunted houses can come in all shapes, sizes, and scary histories, in real life and in popular culture. Take this landmark Leviathan in the heart of Los Angeles. It's got a list of credits any actor would kill for. Like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Recently it starred in the Emmy-winning American Horror Story.
Welcome.
In the first season of American Horror Story, there was a body hanging from the rafters up there in the foyer, but that didn't really happen. That was just in the TV show.
It was all make-believe.
This is a very special house.
Joe Babijan is one of LA's top realtors. He's sold the most stigmatized properties imaginable. OJ's house and Nicole Brown Simpson's condo.
In your view, did it sell for less or for more than an average property of that kind would have sold for?
Probably a little less. I think that there was a negative stigma there.
This house's TV notoriety seems to attract looky-loos daily.
There are tourists right out there now taking pictures of this house.
Yeah, all the time. They're always out there.
Part oversized frat house, part elegantly distressed early 20th century gem. This one-of-a-kinder is screaming for purchase by some eccentric entertainer. At times, it may also just be screaming, period.
Pardon me if this sounds like a moronic question, Joe. Is this house haunted?
I kind of have that feeling.
Ask the man who owns it.
Anybody home?
He sees dead people all over his place, especially in the basement.
You think this property is haunted?
I know it's haunted. I see ghosts here on a pretty much weekly basis.
What are they doing?
Watching me, doing things.
Doesn't freak you out?
No, not at all.
John Gaucher points out a bricked-up room in the basement where he suspects, well, let's just say it's not where the ping-pong table was.
There's no way in, no way out except for this little door right here.
Yes.
Now, why did somebody do that? If you want to stand up on here,
all right,
you can take a peek and see what's in there.
Is a secret passageway of some kind?
That's a really good question. How come there's no doors going into it? That's the big question.
So maybe people go in and they never come out.
Every time I go by the laundry room with a washing machine on,
sure,
I hear conversations. People are having conversations, and it's as clear as day.
So anybody who buys this house, in your view, had better get used to the idea of living with a bunch of...
Yeah, and they're not bad. They're good people. I think they're looking for somebody to hang out with.
And for the right buyer at the right time, the spirits may be willing.
So you like working in a haunted house?
Yeah, just not late at night by myself.
And apparently tonight you can still buy that American Horror Story house for a killer price, down from the original $16 million to $5.
So, would you live in a house that you thought was haunted? I wouldn't. Let us know what you would do using the hashtag ABC2020. And coming up next, when your house on the market becomes an open house for kids who want to party.
Coming up, this guy has thrown a lot of parties, but he was gone for the mansion's biggest blowout. His house for sale and sitting empty.
Party on. Party on.
Teens party crashing and mansion trashing. Next.
Now an all-new take on the idea of a crash pad. Kids looking for a place to party and finding it in the real estate listings. Here's Deborah Roberts with Kids Gone Wild in your living room.
If you're in the market for 9,000 square feet of pure excess, we've found your new digs. Tucked in the hills of Southern California, this lavish mansion is one of a kind, unless you happen to know of another spread with medieval guards in the entryway and a casino down below. Add to that 5 beds, 9 baths, and a backyard that rivals the Playboy Mansion. Asking price, $12 million.
It's a world-class property. You don't see these kind of places very often.
You've got secret entrances all over.
Can you imagine, you just touch it and it just opens?
It's an over-the-top fantasy dreamed up by homeowner Nick Ridoe, who made a fortune in the trucking business and has money to burn. Who else would have a swimming pool that actually lights on fire?
Well, you can go under that slide, and go through the fire and the water.
You're kidding. Nick may live in La Habra Heights, but his house parties are more Hefner than La Habra. The Romanian party boy is often surrounded by scantily clad women. But the craziest party ever held here is one he never even attended because Nick was out of the country. It's an infamous evening that all starts with some teens and some tweets.
Days before the actual party, there was tweets going back and forth as to where this party was going to be.
Detective Josue Rodriguez of the LA County Sheriff's Office says the luxury home was targeted after it was listed online.
They go on real estate sites and they see which homes are for sale. It looks like it's vacant, and then they'll stage a party and invite a bunch of people.
So after casing the place, the teens decided to seize the moment. The party's a go.
Party on.
Party on.
The partiers get lucky. Turns out the house security system isn't on. Big mistake.
Make sure you have an up-to-date security system in the house, but most importantly, make sure your broker is using it.
And neighbors don't report the noise, assuming it's coming from Ridoe's latest soiree.
How many kids would you guess ultimately wound up at this party?
The estimates that we have is somewhere between 150 to 200.
The turnout is mostly 15 to 18-year-olds, non-serious buyers, but many serious drinkers. The outdoor refrigerators are raided as the kids treat themselves to wine, beer, and champagne, says realtor David Wright.
Everything liquid was gone.
Well into the evening, girls mug for the camera like it's a red carpet event. Guys party like rock stars into the wee hours. But when the alcohol runs dry from the outdoor bars, a window's jimmied and the mob moves indoors.
There's just no respect for the property, no respect for anything.
The sentries standing guard couldn't keep this crowd from storming this castle. In true medieval warfare, it was off with his head. Downstairs, another violent act is unfolding.
We're probably about 9 or 10 feet below the surface of the water right here.
They shattered the window?
Yeah, they shattered the window. If the water had come through, we estimate it probably would have killed them. There's 300,000 gallons of water here.
Sometimes homeowners have no idea what's going on. Sometimes they do. The owners of this under-construction dream mansion in Ontario told CTV they actually gave permission for their son to hold a party. In the understatement of the century, the teen told his parents he was having a few friends over. Those few turned into 1,500 BFFs once the party was touted on social media.
There's just kids coming all the way from down there in like packs of 10, 20. Literally no room to walk in the house.
Inside this 5,000 square foot mega mansion, partygoers trashed the bash to the tune of $70,000 in damages.
There was a real potential for something to happen, something deadly.
Fortunately, that didn't happen. Meantime, back in La Habra Heights, Nick Ridoe finally gets the cold, hard facts and the bill.
What damage in this house was over $1 million.
$1 million of damage.
Yes.
The utter destruction, and there was no reason for it.
Now it's up to Detective Rodriguez to solve the crime. And fortunately, the hapless high schoolers leave so many clues, it won't be very difficult. The brazen mob not only continued to party, they tweeted all night, placing themselves at the scene of the crime. boasting in their tweets. The mansion party was fun, but that house is blanked up to the max now, says one. I swear everyone stole something from that house, says another.
And they actually took pictures that night of themselves on the property?
On the property, in the backyard, in the front yard, inside the restroom.
Detectives made a point of arresting the teen suspects during school.
What began as a house party ended as $1 million crime.
This is one of the most serious juvenile and adult crimes that we've come across.
14 kids were arrested with charges ranging from trespassing to felony burglary. But happily for Rideau, investigators recovered some of his unusual treasures, like this exotic stuffed snow leopard worth an estimated $250,000. But other items may be gone for good, much like Rideau's peace of mind.
And you always felt so secure here.
After this happened, you don't feel the same anymore. You feel insecure.
Did they sort of hang themselves through social media?
They absolutely did. It helped them set up the party, and it also helped us bring them down.
That's our program for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Elizabeth Vargas.
And I'm David Muir. Have a good evening and a great weekend. And from all of us here at 2020, thanks for watching.